What is up, guys, and welcome back to episode number 48 now of the Leeds United career mode. Last episode, obviously, I left you in the fact that we had a £50 million transfer, which means we've got 53 million plus £400,000 in the wage budget to be working with. But to kick this episode off, showing you guys some comments that you guys left me on the previous few videos. As you can see, this guy, James, said get Martial or if I can, Depay, which could be a bit of a difficult one, seeing as Manchester United obviously rivals and they don't let players come to Leeds very easily. Then from Harry Jones, who's commented before in the video, so thank you again, Harry Jones, for your support, said get Pulisic or Tielemans or Den Docker as well. Den Docker was someone that I actually did look at last season, so we may be able to get him. Cornelio said to get Martial as well, another shout for Martial there, and if not, Kingsley Coman. Again, very, very good shout from Cornelio from that one, but again, Martial might be a bit tough, as you can see what McCattle said there. He also asked me to see if I could get Martial into Ellen Road, but again, he won't cost that much if I wasn't Leeds, but the fact that he's 86 overall is very, very, very good. So his price may be a bit too high to be able to, but we'll still try and get him. Daniel said try and get Rondon from West Brom, obviously a very strong forward, and he's actually about 29 now, so maybe I'll get him a bit cheaper than some of the other players. He also mentioned that I should try and sign Joe Gomez, who I do believe is a very solid left-back in real life and on the game as well. So Joe Gomez will be probably one of the signings I try and make during this window. Then a different Daniel himself said Sergi Palencia from a right-back, because I did mention in one of the previous episodes that I wanted to try and sign a right-back in a place of Miguel, because Miguel was only a 72 right-back at this point. Cornelio again commenting on one of the other videos saying that he wants me to try and sign John Flanagan for the Liverpool man, but that could be a bit of a difficult one. Again, because Liverpool are sort of a rival of Leeds, it could be interesting to see if they would let him, in fact, come over to Ellen Road. And then Cornelio again saying Emre Moore and Oxford at the back. I'd already signed Emre Moore at this point, so he's already in the club, but Reece Oxford is a very good shout there as well. Then Harry Jones again saying try and sign Semedo from Benfica. I do know who Semedo is, but that one could be a bit of a difficult one because he's overall he's pretty decent and there's not many great right backs in the entire game. Then Daniel again commenting, thank you so much, man, for the support, saying great vid, man, telling me to sign a bunch of different players. You can see them on your screen, and I did in fact take them down and note them into our shortlist. And then the final comment comes from Paul HD Gamer, who said, have I looked at Moses Simon and he's a decent striker and plays for Genk? I have looked at him before. I got him in one of the previous FIFAs for a Leeds United career mode, so I will not be, well, I'll put him in the shortlist, see what we can do in terms of that one, but I'm not expecting to get him at the club. We've just signed Emre Moore. We've obviously got El Ghazi as well, so in terms of strikers, I think unless we are bringing in a big name, I will be sort of keeping the strikers that we have here already at Leeds United. Unless there's a big transfer, you know, if we get enough money left over after making transfers that I want to make, then unless there's a nice bit of money in, I'm not expecting to sign another striker in all honesty. But who knows, it could change before the end of the window. You can see that is the shortlist that guys have compiled for me, featuring comments that I've mentioned in this one and comments from an older episode. So that is your shortlist right there. So we will be going through it and trying to get our hands on a number of these players. There's a few players in there as well who are from older videos. Excuse me, sorry about this. I'm a little bit ill at the moment still, so I'm trying to get myself through this commentary, but it is a very, very long video. By the way, guys, if you could smash that like button for a 19-minute episode of Career Mode, I would really appreciate that. You guys are going ham on the likes already, and showing me some great support as well. And thank you so much as well for 350 subs. I wasn't expecting to hit it as early as I have done here, so thank you all so much for that as well. You can see a bunch of inquiries going on for different players, and just basically, I'm going to spend this episode trying to talk about what's going on in terms of transfers, but at the same time, because there's so many of them going on during the episode, and so many inquiries, offers going all over the place, it might be a bit difficult to keep up with it. You can see the players that I've looked at there, Moses Simon being one of them, but unfortunately, they actually asked for 19.5 million, and at the time, I think he was only around a 78 overall striker. So for me, to pay 19.5 million for a player of that quality, I wasn't prepared to do it. I'm sorry, it's just one of those things. I mean, maybe in a future episode, I may get my hands on Moses Simon, but for now, he won't be in my radar, and that's literally the only reason why, because they asked for a little bit too much in terms of value. You can see a bunch of inquiries. I think we've made one offer so far out of the 4 inquiries I made back there, and that was for John Flanagan, the right back. So he looks to be one of the players we're looking at bringing in. However, we then inquired about this young man from Milan in the form of Vergara. And Vergara was actually a very cheap inquiry back. Caldara is another one as well, another Serie A centre-back. There's 3 centre-backs in this one. Veldara, Caldara, and Reece Oxford. So I went ahead and I offered for the Milan centre-back, and then Thomas Sandoval is actually at forward, but again, only 775,000, which means his rating's quite low. So in terms of that one, I think we'd be taking a step back if we were to sign him rather than taking a step forward, because if we were to sign him here at Leeds, would he really get game time? Probably not. So I decided to go against that. One of the players I did try and sign though was Reece Oxford, so that's now Oxford and Valdara as the, was it Valdara? I think it was Valdara. The 2 centre-backs that we actually trying to sign here to Leeds, because I did in my mind want to sign 2 new centre-backs to be our backup centre-backs behind Hernandez and Vertonghen. And at the moment, we've got Unai Garcia, we've got Cooper, we've got Kalash can play that as well. But we also have Belushi. So in my mind, I was thinking if we get Veldara and we get ourselves Reece Oxford, I would sell on Cooper and I would sell on Belushi. That was what I was thinking. And Reece Oxford's offer of 2.3 million for West Ham was actually accepted by the club. So very happy to see that we could get in Reece Oxford for as cheap as we are. Offer him a contract and say, would you like to come and play your football here at Ellen Road? You can see what I'm going to do here. As soon as I knew that was coming through, I actually went ahead and I listed Belushi. You can see the centre-backs we've got here at the club. Obviously, Kalash isn't in part of that list because he's actually default set as a right-back. So that's the only reason why he's not in that list as the centre-back. But I did decide to list Belushi there as we do sell on the man of the series, Pablo Hernandez. Very sad to see him go. But I didn't want to keep him here at Leeds and not give him game time. I thought he has the right, after what he's done for us here at Leeds, to be able to go on and actually play football for an actual club before his career is up. And I didn't feel it was right to keep him here and keep him on the bench. I know I said in a previous episode I wanted him to retire here at Ellen Road, but at the same time, I sort of felt I owed it to him to not keep him on the bench or not even, like, just leave him, playing in reserves or anything like that. I wanted to make sure that we were going to, in fact, give him game time. So that's exactly what I tried to do there. You can see a bunch of inquiries, accepts all across the board. You guys can see what's going on the screen. It is a little bit sped up as well because otherwise the episode would have gone 40 minutes plus if this actually wasn't sped up. So most of the episode is in 2 times as fast as it should have been, but that's literally because I didn't want this episode to go on for too much in terms of length. So there is that. You can see a bunch of players coming in and a bunch of players that we actually are looking at. Semedo was one of them. They actually said they wanted 27 million for the right back, and I was thinking in my head, unless he's like an 85 rated player, that's a ridiculous valuation. So I'd offered them 11 million. I wasn't expecting them to say yes. Den Donker, how do you actually say his name? I think it's Den Donker, but I could be wrong. He was one of the guys that we were looking at last season on our radar. This season, because we have the funds here, I may try and go for him. This guy, I actually didn't even know about this guy. It was I can't remember exactly who said it from the comments, but mad props to you, because I actually didn't know this guy even existed. He actually has a decent potential. He's actually American as well, so it made it very weird. So I decided to go ahead and try and sign him. He's actually not at PSG normally. He's just transferred over there. But you can see Pablo Hernandez does in fact leave to go to Brighton, and you can see me accepting the deal of Reece Oxford into the club, and I do believe John Flanagan, the transfer offer of 8.5 million, was it, or is it 8 million, was accepted by Liverpool as Salomon Rondon. West Brom said they wanted £19 million for the forward, and I was like, nah, I can't offer you that much. But Alex Moat could be leaving the club, newly promoted Middlesbrough, heading up. I think they're newly promoted anyway, with 4.2 million for the centre attacking midfielder. I counter-offered it and said I want 5.1, and if that was accepted, he would be playing his football at Riverside Stadium next season, as Den Docker ended up, we basically got the offer rejected. So I offered him a new one, as well as Semedo's offer being rejected, so I offered them a new one there as well. Vergara there declined his contract, but that was literally because I don't think I gave him a squad role in the end, and I think I put him as a squad rotation player in the end here at Leeds, because he's not going to play every single game, but a lot of the cup games he will probably be playing in alongside probably Reece Oxford in terms of the 2 centre-backs we'll be playing in those ones. But you can see what's going on your screen, as I did in fact send Emre Moore into the training, Emre is his actual name. The young Turk becomes one of the forwards that I'm looking at trying to get ourselves into a good enough position to be able to put him in a starting position here in this side. But for now, you can see the side that we've got Remy, we've got El Ghazi, and at the moment the 2 other strikers in the side are actually Chris Wood and Kamar Roof. But that could all change, because you can see me here now trying to get my hands on another player, and that was Memphis Depay. We offered him an early offer, offered them another offer there, I think, and Divock Origi was one of the guys that you guys said to me last season, try and get your hands on Divock Origi. I think it was Mercato actually left that comment a while ago now, and we actually went ahead and tried to get the forward, along with, I do believe, Mbai Niang. Kingsley Coman here as well. We only got literally, I think, 12 months left on his contract, so I tried to offer him a cheeky offer because he's going to be, obviously, contract expiring. But unfortunately for us, we actually won't be able to sign him on a pre-contract agreement unless he hits 23 before January comes around. So I actually don't know when his birthday is. I will look it up, and I'll keep him on my shortlist just in case he does hit 23 before January. And then that way we'll be able to sign him on a pre-contract for the next season coming up, which would be very, very good to see if we could do that. You can see Middlesbrough did, in fact, accept these 5.1 million counter-offer that we made for Alex Moat, so he will be going to the Riverside and playing his football over there next season. You can see as well, Den Docker, we finally managed to give them another offer as they keep rejecting the offers that we're making, as Juventus did reject that offer for Kingsley Coman, and I was not expecting this deal to go through at all. It was just one of those ones that I wanted to try and see what we could do in terms of that one, and I actually did offer for Martial. I don't know if it was in this, if it was earlier on during the episode, or if it's still to come, but you can see, guys, with the fact that he plays for Manchester United, it's just not going to happen, and I do genuinely apologise for that, but I do not have the funds to be able to spend on what they are asking for Martial, and I think they only asked for as much as they did, literally because we're here at Leeds. I offered them an extremely good offer. I think it was around 30-something million for the young man, but unfortunately they came back and said they wanted something closer to 60, so it's just not going to happen this season anyway. So for you guys that actually said to me that you wanted to see Anthony Martial come into the club, I do genuinely apologise. It's just I cannot make it happen with the funds that we have currently and the amount of signings that I want to try and get in terms of backup players and stuff for the next coming season. So yeah, maybe next season, if depending on where we finish in the league, because I am looking forward to this one, because like I said to you, if we don't get top 4, I'll be disappointed during this season. So I am expecting us to hit a top 4 position, and hopefully that'll give us a bit more money come next season. But at the moment, we're only in the Premier League, we're only in the AFL Cup, and we're only in the FA Cup. So we're only in 3 competitions for the upcoming season. We're not in Europe just yet. We have to finish in the top 4 to be able to get that, or win the FA Cup like we did in the first season. We only finished, I think, 8th last season, and we got knocked out of both cups, so we didn't quite have the performances that I was hoping for when we came up to the Premier League. It was still a good finish in 8th place, but if we'd been able to win one of the cups, that would have been even better for us. So at the moment, we're only in 3 cup competitions, and that is the Premier League, EFL Cup, and FA Cup. So at the moment in time, we're not looking at this season as to be one of the best seasons of career mode, unless we win the Premier League, which I am not expecting to do by any stretch of the imagination. I still think our team needs a little bit of work before we can really try and get ourselves a title. But who knows? You know, Leicester did it last season in real life, so there's no chance, or whatever, I say no chance, there is actually a fairly decent chance that we could still possibly win the title. And I do believe, as you can see, as we go in for Divock Origi there, that we do have a good enough squad to hit top 4. And when you're in and around top 4, anything can happen at that point. We have got a few, you know, in terms of the teams that were up there last season, I believe that we were better than a few of those teams, especially Manchester United, who actually beat us twice last season, 1-0 in both of those games. However, I felt that we played better in both those games, but were unlucky to not get anything out of them than what they did last season. So in terms of that, even though they finished second and didn't win the Premier League, I still believe that we can actually be a challenger this season in terms of chasing for the title. And I do want to try and get ourselves into top 4. That's going to be my goal. It's just top 4, not bother about the title. If the title comes, then that's an absolute bonus. But I am looking at the top 4 and thinking that I'll be disappointed if we don't reach that this season. If we don't get Champions League football, I will be disappointed with myself. And I can't really blame it on the team, because the team we are putting together here at Elland Road, thanks to your comments, are absolutely unbelievable. You can see we've made a few signings. I'll show you them all a bit later on in the episode and the amount of signings in case you've missed any of them. John Flanagan was actually 77 rated as a right back, so for the price that I was looking at, 8 million, I didn't decide to actually sign him on. I decided to hold out and basically wait and see what his overall was, which is the right thing to do, because in my opinion, a 77 overall right back for 8 million and what it was going to cost in the contract side of it was not worth it in my opinion. So I decided not to go ahead of it. You can see one of you guys actually said Andy Carroll as well in another comment, but I actually didn't show you that one. The reason I didn't show you that one because he actually left it in 4 different comments, and I thought it's going to take up a bit too much time in a video. So yeah, you can see I actually did put Andy Carroll on the shortlist for you guys as well. You can see me going there and offer him a deal. But guys, £32.5 million offered to Tottenham for Divock Origi's signature. Could he become the most expensive signing we have ever made in this series? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that will be the most expensive signing that Leeds United as a club have ever made. So, actually, yeah, it will be, because they haven't been a Premier League side for numerous seasons. And last season, I think we only spent, at most, 6.5 million. That was on Anwar El Ghazi, who was still at the club. So it could be that Origi becomes the most expensive transfer that Leeds United have ever done in their history in terms of monetary value. And it's the most expensive transfer for sure that we've done in this series. As you can see, a few players who actually have signed for us. We offer Origi a contract, so we just have to wait and see what he says. We have a game coming up here towards the back end of the episode against Hull City, so that one is still to come. But, guys, you can see me here. I was debating at the time. I was thinking, should I let you guys decide? Should I wait? But then I thought to myself, you know what? I said to you guys, there wouldn't be another striker signing unless it was a big name player or a big signing. And I believe that Origi can be the man to get ourselves up into the next level of competitive play here at Leeds. And I believe that Origi can be the man to take us up to that next level. So you can see me here showing you the squad report of the players that came in. Oxford 72 overall. Vergara there as well. Joe Gomez was one of the guys brought in. Don Decker brought in. So that's 4 already. And I do believe there's one more. Well, 2 more actually, because Emre Moore was signed in the last episode. So we've made 6 signings during this window. And we still have £8 million left of the transfer budget. So we can save that until January and look at some pre-contracts. I do have a nice bit of the wage budget still to come here for Leeds. So I think what we're going to do is hold on to that money until January now. We made 6 signings. You guys have said what you wanted me to do. And I think all but possibly, all of the signings that I made in today's episode were comments that you guys left. So thank you for that one. Thank you, and so mad props to you guys for leaving me the comments and let me know who you wanted me to sign. I hope I've not, sort of wound any of you guys up by not choosing your players. It's literally the time, the valuation, and everything that happened. Literally, I didn't favour anybody's comments. It was literally, I just sort of thought to myself, I'll make an offer. If the offer's good, I'll take it. And that's exactly what happened. So Den Docker was there. So again, mad props to you guys for leaving me comments and letting me know what you wanted me to do in terms of signing new players into the side. So that's all down to you, and I wouldn't be able to do that without your guys' support. So again, thank you so much for that as well in terms of what you guys have been doing for me and the channel recently. And I hope I've pleased some of you guys by signing some of the players that you mentioned. And again, I apologise if I didn't sign your players. And maybe if you leave a comment in the future of anybody else, maybe your players will get signed in the future. And I'm still going to keep all of the players on that shortlist that you guys left me with comments for the January transfer window in case we get a little bit more money in, and maybe we'll sign some then as well. So I'll still keep hold of all those players in the shortlist, so don't feel as though that your comment has been or hasn't been taken notice of. Your players will still remain in the shortlist, and I will probably still look at them next transfer window anyway. So yeah, thank you all again for the comments you have left on the episodes, as we did take on Hull City here for the opening game of the Premier League season with our new look Leeds United side, and it took us 12 minutes into this before Anwar El Ghazi, one of the main men of the back end of last season, got us off to the perfect start in this one. 13 minutes in, Hull City 0, Leeds United 1 at the KCOM Stadium. A wonderful start. Remy involved in the build-up. You can see as well, Origi actually isn't playing during this game. I decided to name him on the bench. We signed him on the day of the game, so I thought to myself, I'm going to give him a rest during this one. I'll let him just watch the side in action. He could be on the bench. If we need to bring him on, he's there to be able to bring on. So I decided to not play him in this one. We just named Remy, and it was actually the best decision I made so far in this, in the opening game anyways, because Remy was involved in that and got himself the assist for it. As he points, he wanted it back there, Remy, but there's no chance that I'm going to feed that back to him as Anwar El Ghazi's into that position. 9 times out of 10, that ball's ended up in the back of the net, and that's exactly what happened there. So the man who I said last season could be the man to take us up to the next level has already got off his new Premier League account, and it's 13 minutes into the next game. As Remy here, 31 minutes in, Hull City's defence went walking after being a goal down, and then Anwar El Ghazi gets himself a second. Again, Remy with the assist though, so these two are actually bonding a nice partnership up top, so maybe the signing of Origi may come back to haunt me, because these two so far in this opening Premier League game were dominant. They absolutely ran Hull City's defence ragged, so I'm thinking at the time maybe I should just keep Remy on the squad into the starting 11, just hold out on making Origi come into the side until it starts going a little bit wrong up top. But I'll still probably name Origi in the next game just to see how he gets on in that one. By the way, am I saying that right? Is it Origi or is it Origi? I don't actually know how you say his name, so I probably butchered it for the entire episode. I'll take a note of it, and I'll try and make myself, I'll try and remember it for the next episode. I will actually look at how you say his name, but I could have actually butchered it for the entire episode and not even known that I have done, so I do apologise if I have. But things got worse for Hull in all honesty, and 45 minutes into it, Maguire yellow carded after Anwar gets into the box. Could have pulled the trigger there. I tried to pull the trigger, but in the end, it's a foul by Maguire, and he picks up a penalty kick. Chance to give himself a hat-trick in a Leeds United shirt, and he could pick up 3 goals from the opening game of the season. 45th minute, and it's penalty kick, bottom corner. You guessed it. Absolute wonderful finish from the number 10, and he's got off to the perfect start in this new Premier League season. He was formerly of Middlesbrough last season, obviously, until we brought him in for £6.5 million on January. So, very happy that we managed to sign him. I think he went for Dakara as well as £6.5 million. So, at the time, what a signing that was, because he's now worth somewhere in the region of £16 million. And I do believe that we have an offer coming up for him in a next episode that is actually of a very, very good monetary value, but I decided that we're not going to be able to sell Anwar. He's going to have to stay at the club for as long as I possibly can keep him. 78 minutes in, though, Hull City actually created a very, very good chance for themselves. A lovely 1-2. Delaney, and I do believe it was, I'm not entirely sure who it was from Hull City. In the end, gets it back to Delaney. A lovely finish from the Hull City man. Makes it Hull City 1, Leeds United 3, 80 minutes on the clock, but that was all that was left in the game. As the 90th minute struck, and the ball was kicked out of play. Massive, massive victory, I have to say. 3-1 already in the starting Premier League game of the season, and we dominated proceedings there for much of the game at the KCOM Stadium, so I was very happy with that one. But to see my team, my new look Leeds United side, play as well as they did there, I am very confident for the remainder of this season. I am feeling that we can go and possibly win the title. I know I said earlier on in the episode I don't want to get carried away, so I will still be chasing top 4, but there is a real chance that we can be majorly competitive this season, and I can't wait to see how we get on in the remainder of this season. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode of Career Mode. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been Danny, and I'm out. Adios.